Hey guys, Stealth here. Today I'm playing Transport Fever. This is a game that just came out. It was released today, that is Tuesday, November 8th, and it is a game that very much resembles the old Transport Tycoon that you may remember from back in, what was that, late 90s? Something like that. I played quite a lot of that. I really enjoyed building your own transport network. And there have been some attempts to create another Transport Tycoon, but they haven't really succeeded. And Transport Fever is looking really good. It looks like it is actually almost on par with that level, if not entirely on par and potentially better. So, Transport Fever. Finally, a game on the channel that does not include guns, but therefore is no less interesting. You have quite a few options in this game. It starts out with a tutorial, how to build, how to maneuver, how to look around the map, etc. I haven't played the campaign yet, so I don't know too much about that, but for now we're going to do a free game. I'm going to set this thing up in the US, and I'm going to start in the year 1900. I don't find the 1850s to be too interesting, because you have those really early steam engines, and aside from that you have a couple of horse carriages. Not my thing. So let's start in the 1900s. You can generate a seed here, randomize the kind of map that you're going to get, set up your difficulty, set up your terrain type, which means that flat is usually a bit easier than hilly, because hilly will require more tunnels and potentially bridges, therefore making your entire construction a bit more expensive. I'm just going to go for medium and a medium world size. You can have a significant size of map. This one has 144 square kilometers. Large is 256 square kilometers. So this thing is absolutely enormous. I'm just going to go for medium on this one. And then let's have a go. Alright, before we do anything else, let me turn down the gameplay music because it seems to be a bit loud. There. That's better. Okay, let's have a look around the map. It is a US-based map. That does mean that you're going to see some US type names. They're not exactly based on the map of the United States. There is a potential that that will come later, as you can load in custom maps, and the game already has support for the Steam Workshop, so you can possibly build your own map, upload that, and share it with your friends and the rest of the world. Let's have a look around the map. First off, these are factories. This is the Worcester Machine Factory number 2, so there's also another one. It requires wood and steel, and then builds tools. It has a production limit of 50, so I can only get that much stuff out of it in a year. Years pass by pretty quickly, I must say. They pass by pretty damn fast. Or I can give it steel and wood and it's going to turn it into machines, or use steel and plastic to build machines. It's also quite easy to see the main overview where it says it builds with this and this, those two products. And most of those have that. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of UI scaling, or at least that's something that they haven't really implemented yet. And I don't know about you guys, but for me it's quite hard to see exactly which is which. I have to actually zoom in onto a factory and see, okay, what are you and what do you build? But probably that's also because I haven't had a lot of experience with the game yet, and therefore I don't know exactly what all of these things are yet. Now, the factories have requirements, and for example, planks are then needed to get this thing going. But you don't just find planks lying around in forests, unfortunately. If only that were true. In order to get planks, we're first going to have to find some factory that actually builds planks. And so far, it hasn't really been built yet here. So this means that this factory is not likely to be serviced by me, because it's going to take forever to get planks to this facility, and that means that it's not very economically viable. And since your goal in this game is to build an economically viable company that's actually making profit and expanding, you want to find an opportunity that's pretty easy to fulfill. Now let's have a look at the towns. This is Worcester. Towns have their own requirements. You can see that they have a population, and they basically have 3 requirements. They have a requirement for transport between themselves and other towns. So Worcester would like, for example, transportation to Colorado Springs. At least that's how I understand it. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Then they have a requirement for shopping facilities, basically commerce. They need a certain amount of tools, they need food, and they need goods. If you give them those, then the commercial districts will expand. If you give them more construction material, machines, and fuel, you're going to create more jobs, which potentially will also attract more population. And since you were basically, from what I've seen, the only company operating in the area, and the only one building logistics, you're the one who dictates which town gets to grow and which doesn't. But it's not that easy, because you can dictate, well, I'm going to focus on Worcester. However, if there are no economically viable transport routes available, then that might not be too interesting. But for Worcester, I already see an opportunity. You see, Worcester needs fuel. Fuel is built or created here. This is an oil refinery with a production limit of 100, so it's quite good at producing stuff. In order to do that, it's going to require crude oil. And crude oil, I already found that over here. This is the Worcester oil well. It has a production of 4 currently. It is going to be limited to 100 per year. And what I could do is build a train line from there to here and then towards the town. So basically it's going to be a train track with 3 stations. 1 there, 1 here, and 1 over there. It's taking the crude oil to the refinery, takes the finished product to the town, empties it there, so the town gets supplied with another bit of fuel, and then I take the rest back to that, take on more crude fuel, and we're going back. And this is going to be a bit of a loop. So that's an opportunity for this map. But this is just one small area of the map. The map is quite sizable, and this is only the 244 or 144 square kilometer map, which means that since it's square kilometers, the map is 12 kilometers in width. I don't find that too likely. I think that should be a lot more, because that means that if that is 12 kilometers, then this should take, I don't know, 4 kilometers? Maybe. So don't take the map sizes in the kilometers too literally, because I've seen, for example, trains do really interesting things where they take a day or 6 before they get from one route to the other. Let's have a look at some of the other towns. Allentown over here has a higher population, which means that I can transport more of them to a different destination. And let's see if there are any other towns nearby. There's Reno down here for 255 population. And there's Colorado Springs, 202. Not too sizable. We also have Abilene and Laredo on the right there. There's Stamford, Jersey City, Hartford, and Burbank. And a couple of factories spread out between them. None of which I see as potential products or potential trade routes for now, because all of them are too far apart. If I wanted to create a route from Jersey, for example, to Stamford, and I would want to do that with a train, that would take quite a bit of money. And as I believe it was Colonel Failure, I'm going to link to him in the description. He's another YouTuber who does this game. He already mentioned that this game is excruciatingly good at taking your money. So let's say that I want to build a train route from here to over there. I'm not even entirely all the way to where I need to be. And tunnels are very, very expensive. This is going to cost me 5.24 million out of my 6 million budget that you can see in the bottom right corner here. So this is absolutely not possible. I just cannot get away with it. I can, however, borrow a bit more. But my bank loan is already 6 million and I have to pay loan interest over that amount of money. So if you keep borrowing more money, you're going to keep getting your interest level up and up and up, and therefore make it consistently more expensive and more difficult to run a profit. So for now, I'm considering actually going for that trade route that I discovered here, the Worcester route. Let's see if this is viable. Oh, we're also going to have to go deeper here. Well, this is actually quite doable. This is 3 million. That still gives me a bit of cash left in order to go for a train station, a depot, and buy some trains so I can get the train tracks going. So yeah, let's go do this. Let's start at the source. This is the source, the crude oil well. So I'm going to start out with, and this is important, you want to start with a cargo station here. If you build a passenger station, they're going to try and get passengers from over here, which is not what I need. I need a cargo station. And you gotta make sure that this thing is hooked up to the road and that this thing gets highlighted. If it doesn't, then that means that you're outside of the reach. Now, I gotta say that this train station is significantly more expensive than I'd expected. $500,000 for one train station. And that's because it is in a very, very unsuitable location and it's trying to link up to the road. If I build it up here in the hills, it becomes a bit more viable and I can then build a road towards the crude oil well. I can then take my train track around, drop it off there, go over here and be done. So that could work. So let's build this thing for as cheap as I can get it. You really want to be a bit of a cheapskate in this game. There, that should do. Now hopefully I can get a road from here. No, too much slope. Too much slope. Fantastic. Too much slope. Great. I need an alignment of the terrain that'll allow me to get this station connected, but I'm not sure if there's any possibility of that. Too much slope, collision. This road alone is costing me $70,000. It is not easy, or at least I haven't found a good way yet to drive a profit initially. Nope, still a train collision. Okay, I'm gonna have to remove the station. I have to try and build that somewhere else, but I already burned almost 200k. So I'm going to have to make sure that this thing actually gets the job done as cheaply as possible, while still being in the influence area of that fuel thing, that oil well. Let's turn it around. You see it's not lighting up, so it's not actually giving me any opportunity here to link it up. Unable to align the terrain. How about here? That's not too bad. It is expensive, I'll give you that, but 400k, 327k, 299. That's what I'm gonna go with. Okay, so there's my train station. Next up, we're going to build the tracks. I'm going to go with a single track for now. And I'm not even sure if I have enough money to buy another station for Worcester. Which is okay, initially. You don't have to go for that right away. Let's try to follow the contours as much as possible. Because tunnels are extremely expensive. Talking about expensive. Wow. Look at that. 2.28 million. No thank you. This is what they mean when they say follow the contours, because building bridges or terrainscaping is really bloody expensive. Terrain collision 600k. 900. This is already a million. This is going to be interesting to see if I can get this thing built as cheaply as possible. Let's hold the route here. Then build another station. Make sure that's aligned to the city. It doesn't really matter where in the city it seems to be, so long as it's connected. That's when it's going to count towards the city's own area of influence. So we're going to have one over here. And then immediately build the next station. It's going to have to come over here, and there it is in the influence sphere. It's a bit weird having two stations this close together, but trains are just rather efficient at getting stuff from A to B. Rather efficient. Depending on the speed of the train, that is. Okay, we're gonna have to build a little tunnel here, and look at that. These 60s mean that that's the maximum speed of this train at this specific section. This is 19.9, so this thing can go pretty fast. Okay, so that's the initial setup. Now, we're going to need a depot. That's where the trains basically have their station. I'm going to build that at the end of the track. Too much slope, are you kidding? Oh. Really? This game and its slopes are so annoying. Bye-bye. That was another 50... Well, yeah, pretty much 50k that I burned. Screw it. We're going to attach it right to the track there. Okay, so there's the 3 stations. We're first going to have to go to there, then drop it off there, and then take whatever is left, take that up to this station and go back. So, let's buy a train. Locomotives. I'm not sure how much this thing is going to exactly be capable of pulling. I haven't exactly worked out all the power yet, but the more power it has, the more it can pull without losing too much speed. But the more power you have, the more you're paying for it. I'm paying 317k for this one, for the 440, the general. Top speed of 45. This one has a top speed of 75, can pull a lot more, 400 versus 130 kilowatts. And is 3 times as expensive. So I'm going to go with the middle ground and buy a train for $687,000. This type of material is oil, so we're going to need a specific train or specific carts to get that thing underway. It's going to be a tank car. It can transport crude oil and fuel. So basically all the products that I need. So let's buy a couple. These have a capacity of 7. Let's say 3 for now. It gives me a spending budget of another 2 million. Now we're going to have to create a new line. The first stop is going to be all the way over here. Whoops, that's 2 stops there. Get one of these removed. The next station is going to be this one, where it offloads the cargo. And the third one's going to be that one, the Worcester Exchange. And hopefully this is going to work. It is going to initially make a bit of a wasted trip, because I could have put the depot over there and made sure that it already had something, but it's alright. We're just going to have to go with this for now. So, let's press play and get the train going. Now the game has a couple of interesting features. I haven't used them that much yet, but if you wanted to, you could enter the cockpit of the train and ride along with it. Not something I find particularly interesting, but it is an opportunity that you have. For now, let's put it to full speed, get the train going, and see if this thing is actually producing something. Its production is going up. It has 22 crude oil awaiting, and that should be transferred to the station, but for some reason nothing is waiting yet. It seems that the game sometimes has to... There we go. It sometimes has to wait for the stuff to be delivered from the oil well or from the factory to your station. But there we go. We got 2 crude oil awaiting. So I have a mass amount of capacity to burn. In the sense that this train now has 2 oil out of 21. It can have a lot more. Now I can tell you that running a logistics organization like this, or a transport company, is not cheap. You have operating costs, and those operating costs can get significant. The finances for this train have a running cost of $74,000 per year, so I gotta make sure that I bank at least that back in order to get the train's own revenue back. Or the train's own expenses, I should say. There we go. First travel. And he didn't drop it off. No, actually he did. I just missed it. There we go. He has now a bit of production. And they should start dropping off the finished product over here in Worcester East. Once that's done, we can then take those finished products, load them up, offload them here in the town, and start providing Worcester from fuel. Let's see. Look, that's better. There's 16 bits of crude oil available right now. So with that, I can actually get this train filled up to a large portion of its capacity, and then get it back to the fuel station where it's, or to the other side of the station, where it's going to drop it off. There we go. How much does he have? 20 out of 21. Very good. Now over here on the left, I have the company window open, and you can see that in 1900 I spent a lot of money, but that's because I built the stations, I built the train tracks, the bridges, the tunnels, everything. 1901 should be a bit better. I shouldn't be spending as much that moment. Of course, I do have my operating costs, I do have my loan interest, which is 90k a year. And hopefully, with the arrival of the train and making the required amount of trips, I can now get some profit in. The train did make a profit. There we go, it made 57,000 profit, or 57 grand this year. Its income is way higher than its running costs. However, I'm still not seeing a lot of production from this town, or from this oil refinery. For some reason, it's not actually dropping it off at this station yet. I don't like that, because that means that this station is a bit useless at the moment. In the sense that the fuel is not actually getting delivered because the train does not seem to realize that it can pick up the finished product. That it can pick up the fuel and drop that off to Worcester. But there is another option for that. I can go for vehicles. Just your average fuel truck. So I can have a cargo or truck station with 2 cargo terminals and build that somewhere inside the town. Preferably in a position where it covers most of the town. There, now it covers virtually all of the town. It is really expensive to build it there though. 186. Yeah, that's doable. And I'm going to build another station over here to make sure that this is where the fuel is going to be picked up, or at least that's what I hope. You can see that's now only 19k. It's way cheaper because I don't have anywhere near as much. Let's see, is the train transporting anything? No, nothing. So in that case, you don't even have to stop here anymore. Let's go to the line manager. Line 1. Worcester Exchange. We're going to delete that. It is making a profit on this line, albeit slowly. Anyway, I was building a freight terminal here. Let's build it over there. Now we're going to set up a new line. This is going to be my line that's transporting the fuel towards Worcester. Get some vehicles. Actually, we need to get vehicles from a vehicle depot. I don't have one of those yet. Let's park that right next door. By road vehicles. And we still don't have anything that can transport stuff which actually has an engine. Or, well, we have the Mack, which is some sort of bus. We also have the American horse cart, traveling at a top speed of 20 with a capacity of 5. Or I can go for a steam lorry, has a capacity of 6 and slightly faster. Price 31k, 21k. Operating cost 5.27k per year, 3.62. I'm going to try with 2 of these. Oh, actually no, I already bought 3, whatever. Set line to all, line number 2. Once again, it's going to take a bit of time before the game realizes that the fuel that's being produced here can now be transported from this depot towards Worcester. So unfortunately there is a bit of a lag there, and some of these vehicles are going to make a run where they don't actually have anything. They're not actually transporting anything. Oil 0 of 6. But now it's starting to stack up on fuel. Let's see, does this thing have any running costs? I don't believe so. You have road costs and railroad costs, but once you have built a station, it does not seem to need that much money. Let's see how this depot is doing. Okay, there's a lot of fuel piling up here, or crude oil, meaning that I could upgrade my train. And there was also another train type available. So let's have a look and see if we can upgrade this train. We need to expand its transport capability. I'm going to slow it to standard speed. 19k operating costs. How much do you bring in? That's weird. For some reason it won't show me the amount of money that it's making. Normally there should be a sort of blip that shows you how much money it has made. Not sure why that isn't happening. Alright, I want to have wagons. I want to have... this is some of the new stuff. A tank car. Really expensive stuff. 500k. But they can transport twice what I can transport right now. And the things that I transport right now don't seem to be built anymore. So, unfortunately, it seems that they're outdated. Let's pause this. The boxcar, another type of boxcar, a stake car for different cargo types, and I'm gonna have to buy a tank car. Which does immediately almost boost the capacity of this train by a factor of 2. So that should be enough for right now. Go back to line 1. Alright, up to full speed again. Let's see how these things are doing. They're carrying fuel, and so far they haven't actually made any money yet. But I think that this one is going to be the first one to actually drop off some fuel here and make some money. We've got a construction site here, a commercial building. There's virtually no traffic on the road, just a lot of pedestrians. There we go. How much are you making? There we go. 1.57k in profit, because it got an income of 4.46k. And with that, all of these things are just going to continue doing that. They all have some fuel with them, but because they kept on going, and my train not so much, there is not a lot of reserve capacity here. Just 6 right now, and it's slowly going up. Time for the train to come back in. 33 points of crude oil. There's 31 there already. So this oil well is doing really, really nicely on producing new stuff for me. Let's see how much this train is going to be making. In the line manager, you can see the overall balance of a line. You can see how much a line has made you or how much it has cost you. So far, the train line, which is line 1, has cost me $10,000 or 10 grand. But there we go. Good profit. 174k profit on that line. The vehicles, these steam things, steam lorries, they're also making a bit of money, but it's not anywhere near as much as I would like. I don't really see a lot of ways to speed up the process here. But as Worcester is going to grow, it might actually get a bit more demand for fuel. As you can see, it's now getting a mediocre stats for its job division, so it's basically its industry, as in providing 17 out of 51 required fuel. And of course it is going up, and at the same time I'm trying to drop off as much fuel as possible. Although I may have too many of these things, as some of them are still traveling half empty. How about you, buddy? Yep, he's doing nicely. He has 6 out of 6. Let's have a look. There we go. That was the offloading. So it's going back home, getting back to its base destination and picking up more fuel. And I hope that this thing can keep up with the production that I'm pouring into it. And moreover, I might be having enough money soon to keep expanding this rail line and keep expanding this train with more carts or my wagons, because there's 53 waiting and it just keeps piling up. And at some point, I need to buy another cart or another wagon to keep all that stuff going towards the fuel facility here, towards the refinery. How are you carrying stuff? Yep, 6 out of 6, looking good. 0 out of 6, you're on RTB. And both lines are making a profit, although not that much. This can get a lot higher as you progress through the game. There's only 2 waiting? Are you kidding? Oh, there's 2 waiting after he's passed through. Okay, that's better. As you can see, I'm still learning the game myself. Once again, to plug kernel failure, if you want to have a game, or if you want to have eyes on a player who's played the game a lot longer, then have a look at his channel, link in the description down below. He's played the game a lot longer than I have, been involved in the beta test, I believe, and with that he has a lot more experience in the game and can tell you what you need to focus on and what you need to just forget about. For now, he's a lot further into the game than I am. Anyway, this is the base of Transport Fever. I was going to say Transport Tycoon there. This is the base of Transport Fever. I currently don't have a lot of money left, so I cannot exactly afford to start up another route just yet, especially another train route, as they're way too expensive. But later on, as you progress, you can also get more different ships, and of course you can go for aircraft. I haven't actually gotten that far yet, but there are a few videos on YouTube out there that have gotten that far. A couple of campaigns that have made it all the way to the airplane era without going bankrupt. And talking of which, I have made a profit in 1903. In 1904, not so much. Let's see, did I buy anything here? No. So I could be doing a lot better. But then again, I'm still learning the game. Anyway, this is the first look at Transport Fever. Link is in the description down below if you want to pick up this game from Steam. It's only 30 euros, so it's not very expensive. And if you like the old Transport Tycoon game, definitely have a look at this thing, because I think you're gonna like this one too. For me, I'll definitely be continuing this series. I probably won't be airing everything, because it seems that for quite a large amount of time you're just waiting for more money to come in. And that's not something that I really like to do. And especially, it won't be interesting to watch. So, definitely more coming, but I won't be showing you everything. Let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comments. I look forward to hearing from you on your thoughts about this game, which is not an actual war game, but definitely a strategy game, just of a whole different caliber. So let me know what your thoughts are down below, and otherwise I'll see you soon in another video.